Time now for Trivia Tracks with yours truly, Price Robertson. Sponsored by Beth Smith and Edward Jones and ProMed Ambulance Services. One of the core members of the Three Stooges, Larry Fine, will forever be remembered as the Stooge in the middle. Voice actor Billy West, known for his fine impression of Larry, pardon the pun, has compared him to Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, implying that Larry did more reacting than acting, staying in the background and serving as the voice of reason. He was born Louis Feinberg on October 5th, 1902 in Philadelphia. The son of jewelers, Fine was the oldest of 4 children. One of his 2 brothers, Philip, died of influenza in 1919. Early in his childhood, Larry's arm was accidentally burned with acid that his father used to test jewelry for its gold content. Larry picked up the bottle and accidentally spilled it on his forearm, causing extensive damage to it. His parents later gave him violin lessons to help strengthen the damaged muscles in his forearm. He became so proficient in it that his parents wanted to send him to a European music conservatory, but the plan was thwarted by the outbreak of World War I. To further strengthen his damaged arm, Fine took up boxing under the name Kid Roth, winning 1 professional bout. His father, opposed to Larry's fighting in public, put an end to his boxing career. Once in vaudeville, he brought his violin with him. In 1921, he appeared in the Broadway revue Newsboy Sextet. 1 year later, he teamed up with Mabel Haney and her sister Loretta in an act called The Haney Sisters and Fine. In 1926, Larry and Mabel were wed, welcoming 2 children in the coming years. In 1928, Larry received the offer of a lifetime. While performing at Chicago's Rainbow Gardens, vaudevillian Ted Healy approached him about joining his act, then starring in a play called A Night in Spain by brothers J.J. Sam and Lee Schubert. Since Shep Howard was leaving the play for a few months, they asked Larry to be a replacement Stooge. Fine joined Healy's other Stooges, Bobby Pincus and Sam Moody Braun. Howard returned later in the year to finish the play's tour. In 1929, Healy signed to star in the Schubert's new revue, A Night in Venice, bringing Fine, Shep Howard, and Mo Howard together for the first time as a trio. It was J.J. Schubert who suggested that Fine adopt a new Bozo the Clown-like hairstyle for the play, which Larry kept. In 1930, the Healy act headed for Hollywood when Fox signed them to star in Soup to Nuts, on which Bo, Larry, and Shep were joined by a 4th member, Fred Sanborn, whose character was quasi-Chaplin-esque. Larry, Bo, and Shep briefly left Healy after that, but returned in 1932. Shep, however, wanted to go out on his own, and he and Mo's younger brother Jerome replaced him, rechristened Curly in the process. In 1934, fed up with Healy's drinking, among other matters, the trio left him and MGM, their studio at the time, for Columbia Pictures, where they would star in over 100 short films, plus some occasional appearances in features. During the trio's peak years with Curly, Larry served as a surrealistic foil and the middle ground between Mo's brusque bluntness and Curly's childish persona. Like the other Stooges, Larry was often on the receiving end of Mo's abuse. Because of his profligate ways and his wife's hatred for housekeeping, Larry and his family lived in hotels. He didn't buy his first house until the 1940s. By that time, Curly's hard living had caught up with him, and he suffered a debilitating stroke that forced him to retire. Shemp returned to the act, and Larry's on-screen presence increased, becoming the focus of several of their 2-reelers. In 1955, just 3 years after Curly's death, Shemp died of a heart attack, and Joe Besser replaced him, only to depart in early 1958, barely a month after Columbia shut down its shorts department and terminated the Stooges' contract. With Joe DeRita on board as the new 3rd Stooge, he became Curly Joe because of his resemblance to the original Curly. Columbia rehired the Stooges to make feature films as a result of their enduring popularity via television. In 1961, Larry's life was changed forever when his only son Johnny was killed in an auto accident at the age of 24. 6 years later, he lost his wife Mabel to a heart attack. In 1970, during filming of a pilot for a proposed TV series called Kook's Tour, Larry suffered a stroke that left him partially paralyzed and forced him to retire from acting for good. He spent the remaining years of his life at the Motion Picture Country House in Woodland Hills, California. In late 1974, he suffered another stroke, which further slurred his speech. Then a more massive stroke got a hold of him, putting him in a coma. He died on January 24, 1975, at the age of 72. In 1989, Larry's daughter Phyllis succumbed to cancer at the age of 60. Till next time, I'm Price Robertson. Amazed by today's trivia? Then join me for Trivia Tracks weekdays at 6:45 on Everybody's Country Y95.